Hey guys, in today's episode of Dad's Making, we're gonna make some German potato bread. Thanks to the inspiration of the big hairy bikers or whatever they're called. So now what you're gonna need is a big bowl. You're gonna need 400 grams of potatoes. Make sure that it's the peeled weight and not the one with the skin on. We need to cook these and then we're gonna mash them in a little bit. Then you need, keep some of the cooking liquid from the potatoes, 75 milliliters or 5 big tablespoons of it. 1 teaspoon of sugar goes in here and a packet of yeast. That will take 10 minutes to bubble up. Then we're gonna use 300 grams of flour and a good tablespoon of olive oil then when we're ready. So let's mince these puppets here together. I just need to grab my masher. So as you can see, this will now be mashed. If you don't have a masher, a big fork will also do. So now let's make sure that all the big bits are mashed together like this. As you can see, the potatoes are mashed. I'm gonna get all the potato out of the masher as far as I can. As you can see here, so perfect. So, I've added the tablespoon of oil and I've mixed it all together, as you can see, and made it a bit different, more like a mashed potato if you think about it. But instead of the butter, I used olive oil. If you have a vegetable oil, that is fine as well. My yeast, as you can see here, has puffed up really nicely. It takes roughly 10 minutes. If it doesn't work, don't use it because your bread will be not puffing up the way that you want it to be, not so spongy on the inside. And so if you mess this up, use another pack and try again. It could have been that the water was too hot or too cold, but you'll get there. If you try a few times, you'll get the hang of the temperature that you need. Now we're gonna slowly, with our spoon, incorporate the yeast into our potato mix. So, then we're gonna add some salt, roughly a tablespoon of salt goes in. I'm using sea salt. If you have other salt, that's fine. But if you, the nicer the ingredients, of course, often makes a difference. So if you have sea salt, then that is great. So now, as you can see, our mixture has come together nicely. Here are my 300 grams of flour. I'm not gonna add everything at the same time, so I'm gonna add a bit and then just incorporate it in with my spoon. Okay, now all my flour is in. I should probably put up my sleeve. And I'm gonna incorporate everything now together by hand to form a dough ball. If it is a bit dry when you're doing this, then you could always see if you have another bit of potato left, or you can just add some of the potato liquid, because I feel my dough is a tiny bit dry, but let me incorporate this because I just want to make sure that everything is in there properly. So as you can see, my dough is coming together slowly. You're gonna be kneading for around 10 minutes just to make sure that it's proper. So, okay, so while I am knitting, I will skip these 10 minutes so you don't just see my hand knitting the dough for it. So I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. So now I've knitted the dough for 10 minutes. Really do make sure that you take your 10 minutes. My dough felt a bit dry, but actually when I'm done knitting now, it actually came together nicely and it has a bit of soft Play-Doh consistency. Now, I'm just gonna reuse my bowl. It's a good glug of olive oil. I'm going to spread that all out so that it doesn't stick. If you want, you can use a second bowl. If not, then use this. So all you do now is place your bread dough in the middle, you know, right here, and then cover it up with a tea towel and put it in a warm place. If you have an oven that was on recently, just close the door with it. Don't turn it on because that would be too hot. But if it's, you know, kind of hand warm in there, then it'll be a great environment for your dough. And this takes then roughly 45 minutes to an hour until your dough has nicely risen, so that we're not gonna look at this dough for 45 minutes. I'm gonna skip ahead. So I'll see you in a blink of an eye. So as you can see, our dough has nicely risen, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on my work surface. Not too much. And dip out my dough. So now all you do is knock back our dough a little bit so that we can spread it out. You can, you know, just knock it out a little bit. And you can shape your dough now whichever way you like. I'm going to shape it roughly like this, like a round bread. You know, well, I'm gonna make sure to get all the bits closed at the bottom, as you can see. So now I'm gonna drop it onto my board, or onto my baking sheet. And all I'm gonna do now is gonna add some flour for texture. And this will proof for 30 more minutes now. And then we'll pop this puppy in the oven. So guys, 30 minutes have passed. Our dough has risen again really nicely. So I have preheated the oven at 200 degrees because I'm using a fan oven, and it'll go in now for 30 to 35 minutes until there's a nice crust that is formed. And yeah, then we'll see how it looks when it's done. Hello everyone, as you can see, I've added some chia seeds just because I thought, oh, that might taste nice onto my bread, and it's fresh out of the oven, so it is nice and warm. And I hope you guys will have as much fun at making this bread as I had making this bread. And the recipe you'll find in the description below, as always, as well as all of my social links, including patreon.com/Project D.A.D if you'd like to support me that way. And otherwise, yeah, I'm just gonna wait for this to cool down a bit so I can cut into it. And yeah, as always, I'm your dad, Steve. Guten Appetit, and I am